Okay. Hello, everybody, and sorry for this little bit of diversion from the normal Thursday content and what we thought we were going to be doing up until about 15 minutes ago. So we've managed to wrangle together a last minute sort of video, a little stream for you guys, at least to give you something, just to give you an update on what did happen. We've had some issues with our OBS system, with our stream deck and stuff like that. After the weekend, we still don't know why. And then you would have, if any of you watched the first league game on Tuesday, we had a few issues with our scoring system there, which kind of didn't really have an impact on the game, but it was a bit annoying for the guys playing. So we didn't want to showcase another game for you without that, because it can make things a little bit skewed. And we want to make sure that the content that we're making for you guys is pretty consistent and of a pretty high standard. So we weren't fully comfortable in producing a subpar product. So we've decided very, very last minute to wrangle a sort of reaction vid, which everyone's doing, all the big names and everyone's doing. And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. So today, big thanks to all our sponsors as usual, Dice Arcade, Miniature Scenery, General Games. If you're liking what we're doing and this kind of content too, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel as much as possible, especially the likes on the videos. It does help it get out into the interwebs. Big thanks to all our Patreon supporters and anyone else who supports us and collabs with us with events and other bits and pieces. I'm not going to go into events today. It's going to be a pretty short, quick little opinion piece from all three of us. And by three of us, I mean Ed. Ed is sitting in production today.
What's up?
Yes. So I'll quickly run down what we're going to do. So we're obviously going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Lion. We're going to talk about the 10th edition stuff, and then also we're going to show the cinematic video in snippets, because we reckon we've seen. I don't know. I actually haven't watched anyone else's reaction vids, but I think that's in the article that they released after the live stream. They did say that if you want to see the models that are coming, check that cinematic. So we're going to go through those and see what we think we've spotted, because we think we've spotted some pretty cool things that are potentially going to be models released post the main box, if not in the main box. So first of all, what's your thoughts?
Before that, I think we were ready to roll some dice. Maybe we can show it to them.
Well, they can't. Do we have dice cam?
We can do dice cam.
We can do dice cam?
Yeah, we can do dice cam.
Okay.
See?
All right. This is what you would have seen tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, they show up nice. So we've got nice gold and green Aussie dice, and then we've got these beautiful black and bone. Well, black, gold, and bleached bone dice. So, hey, look, that's all right for me.
2 and 3.
That's all right for me. So, alas, you'll have to wait to Tuesday for our next league game. And at the end of the stream, we'll also talk about what that matchup is going to be, just entice it and make sure. We will have everything back to normal by next Tuesday.
Tuesday is not a game.
Sorry, not Tuesday.
It's Thursday.
It's the next Thursday, yeah. What were your thoughts?
There was a podcast.
A
podcast was Tuesday.
So I need to fix those.
Yes, you need to fix a lot. Okay, so what did you think?
First, the thing that I pick up is that they said they are making it streamlined for the 10th edition.
Yeah.
Simple and streamlined, which is...
They said simplified, not simple.
Simplified and streamlined.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, because they said it's a one-page rule per army, per whatever faction.
One-page army rule.
Yes.
But then they also trip over themselves in the article about that.
So I was actually joking that the one-page rule is like an A3.
Yeah.
The font size is probably 2 or 4. So you would still have, I still have lots of rules. But it's good, because now everything has rule blows. Everything is so complicated, so complex. You need to remember all the command phase, whatever, stupid buffs. But this one, it's like, it's looking good. I'm liking it.
Yeah, I mean, Ninth was plagued with rules bloat, and just, I mean, it has for so many editions previously of just stuff all over the place, and it's really hard to find it and whatever. So obviously having that changed in a way is really good. One of the key things that stood out to me straight off the bat was the fact that I don't know, they kind of do the index, but they seem to change the way they were talking about everyone getting their full rules upon release.
On day one.
Yeah, so not so much an index, which it still might be, we don't know, but maybe it's me being a little bit optimistic, but reading the way that, especially the way they said it in the article, was definitely more attributed to everyone's going to have a full set of rules for their faction on launch day.
That's amazing.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then so obviously with that comes. I imagine, obviously, the 2 release armies are probably going to do things a little bit differently. But if it's not, that's amazing. Like it's super cool. So the streamline thing is interesting. I mean, the data sheet, they kind of really rested heavily. So obviously, they didn't give us any information on the core rule structure. But with that, I think I would always go back to the rumor stuff that's been around for a while. That ever since I think post Death Guard book, actually even. I think the Death Guard book, since those leaks, they've been 100% accurate. So I would...
The one leaking are actually inside.
Of course, they're probably doing it themselves. Like, it's fine. I think the fact that you might end up having... The rumor going around was that it was single unit activation at a time, like it's full sequence, which seems pretty cool. I think that's nice. And then also, I mean, look, it's not a bit around the bush. It's definitely got the AOS treatment. There's even a tagline at the bottom of the article that says in the asterisks, it's I think it's. Units that have the battle line keyword in bold, which is battle line, which is taken directly from AOS, are exempt from the rule of 3, which is, your troops and stuff. I don't know why they wouldn't switch and just keep that as core, being that fundamentally it's kind of the process of what that keyword does and stuff. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely gotten the AOS treatment. Yeah. The interesting thing I found with the data sheets, and you pointed this out, was that the weapon skill, ballistic skill is on the weapon, not on the models thing. Do we have that picture? Do we have the image of that?
He needs okay, but before that, I actually like the data card per unit, right? Because when you come into a game, these are the data cards.
Oh, you mean the cards?
Yeah. These are the unit of my army, and then if you have question, go and check it out.
Yeah.
Actually
that is
cool.
pretty
Like
cool.
it's those, trading or magic card games, right? You have the picture, you have their stats.
Yeah,
it's just awesome bringing them.
Yeah. So it's weird too, because they do say that in the article about the fact that you're going to be able to purchase essentially the entire army rules of each army as cards, which is cool. I imagine there's going to be sort of like a A4 page, like a hard sort of cardboardy page, which is the army rules.
So. Maybe when you buy, I think they will still sell Codexes.
Well, they did say they will.
They will. And then so then you can get, once you buy that one, you can get your data cards in their one-page rule.
They say in the article, it's the 3 options. You either buy it as the book, you can buy it as cards, or you can get it digitally, which is amazing. Like, and I think this might segue to them doing, integrating the rule set, as in the Army's rule set, into their app, which would be what we've all been screaming about since 8th edition, right? Like, this is the word. Yep.
So, big thanks to Carl. Thanks, Carl. Good vibes to Canada Tech Hoodoo Super Chat $5. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Carl.
Oh, thanks, Carl.
And also, just now, John Davidson. So much speculation. Spot the addicts.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I'm going to say this now. Pretty much everything that I said leading up to it was exact. However, they weren't my speculation. Like, some of them were. I mean, the only speculation I've had, which I really hope does come true, is that stratagems go generic.
And they said that.
And they did say there would be more generic ones.
Yeah.
And then there'll be an average of 6
per sub-faction or whatever.
Okay, so it'll be like a supplement book rather than a full codex.
Yeah. So that's why that's good.
I've got the data sheet here. If you want
to... Oh yeah. So we'll quickly run over this data sheet. So obviously we've got movement. The interesting thing in this is that there's a toughness value, and Ed, you and I were talking about this being here as. Yeah. I still think there is the potential that they're going to have a situation that negates stuff so that you don't need to do it. I think it only might come into play when dealing with things that may be like instant death, or like if you're higher than a certain toughness value compared to your opponent that something else procs, and then that's why it's kind of relevant. And then save, obviously, and the other cool thing that we all love here is this OC value, which is, objective controlled. Or what did I didn't watch the stream, so I've only read the article.
Mentioned it was objective controlled.
Yeah.
This would mean how many units or points do you have on the objective.
Per model,
Model.
Yeah.
So
a knight could be like 10 or
20 or whatever. Yeah, I think this is amazing. And it kind of now puts in a little bit more light into how and why some of these changes might not have been brought in data slates, because they were holding it for 10th.
Yes.
But yeah, so you can see here that obviously you have all the ranged weapons. Now, we don't know how that stipulates difference to what it is equipped, or if they have all of them, or because that's what it kind of is with AOS. Basically, what's on that data sheet is what everyone has that you can then use. So, you know, do they have both? Do they not have both? Obviously, I assume it's going to be model dependent. But yeah, it's very clear. It's very simple. It's very easy. I think they've taken a lot of information from the one-page rules community, which exists in video games and also in tabletop games. I do love that rule. If that rule on the right is legit, so if anything moves within 9, that unit gets a D6 move. That's super cool.
Is that like a new mechanic for this particular unit?
Well,
or is it a strat? Because
it's an ability. So it's an ability on the data sheet. So they did, even in the article as well, they really doubled down on the fact that a lot of it's going to be based on, you probably come back to Alstad, that a lot of it's going to be based on the more information is going to be rested on the data sheet rather than the army rules. So I think that's why they're leveraging to the accessibility part of having cards and all, which is, they're all ticks. Like, I think that's all really great from a design point or a product point. I think that's really
I really like that they like separated the offensive stats, so like the weapons, from the model itself. So like you have your weapons, which is like has the ballistic skill and weapon skill in there, and then you also have like the number of attacks and everything. So your offensive capabilities, and then the model itself. So it's defensive profile and its leadership and things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Separation of it, like your turn versus their turn, kind of
Well,
thing.
I mean, you can even go down the tinfoil hat point with that specifically, right? Like, are we going to see kind of the force multipliers on increases to attacks and stuff like that potentially go, because they're not going to hold the keywords because they're the weapons, not the models and those kinds of things. So I think with the idea of it being simplified, it's going to go down that path. It's like, and overall, if it is going down that, well, it is going down the AOS path, which is fine, as long as it doesn't go down the mortal wound path that AOS has gone down. I think that would be a bad design choice on their part, because that's usually one of the biggest gripes that most people have with the competitive AOS side, is that it's just mortal wound crazy.
Which is also actually now happening with the guard, right?
A few armies, I mean, it was like that with Nids too, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's cool. And like, obviously the shape of the card being horizontal is interesting. So it's probably going to be, you know, I imagine they're probably going to be like, what, A7 or whatever?
I don't know the size.
A7 or something? So it's not going to be like, I assume it's not going to be like the little ones that they have. It's going to be the bigger ones. Yeah, cool. So...
And also, they also mentioned like there would be some models or units that would have more than 10 toughness. I'm excited.
Well, that's going to be your tanks. So, and again, this comes, did they say that on the stream?
They said it on the stream.
Ed, if they've said that on the stream, then I would go as far as saying that the rules of no toughness roll, like no to wound rolls, is real, and that the toughness value is for other circumstances regarding, there might be psychic powers that's like, if they're this toughness, then it does stuff or whatever. Certain other abilities, I don't think it's going to be directly correlated to shooting unless it's over a value. So it might be that if your weapon is higher than their toughness, you don't roll to wound, for example, or whatever, or something like that.
Speaking of the psychic phase, that was another big change.
Well, yeah, in the
mentioned on the stream.
Yeah.
Basically, the psychic phase is gone.
Yep.
And those abilities are now data sheet based.
And then,
really?
Yeah. And then it would go to your shooting phase.
So it's not in the command phase, like you still don't have to roll for it, it just happens.
Well, it's just like a shooting phase, right, Ed?
They said, they gave an example of Smite will now be essentially a shooting attack that the librarian makes.
Oh.
As an ability.
Oh, so then if you had
to roll for it to go off.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
They didn't really say how, but Yeah.
So then I imagine then if you have like a buffing thing, that would just then be like a command phase ability, but it's just a psychic power, not a... So then if the only way you could maybe mitigate it is if you had another psychic there or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. I don't mind that.
It's very
Yeah, they're like shortening the phases, and even next one after the psychic phase
Morale
being
phase,
gone is a morale phase.
Yeah.
No more morale.
This
phase.
I popped off on this. I really like the idea of... So how exactly is that functioning
So
now?
now they said the morale phase now actually would be also contributing to whatever will happen to your unit to the command phase. Let's say you are not losing any more models. No one is running away.
Yeah.
But then they would function differently if you fail the morale or something.
So
like
it affects the efficiency and the capabilities of that unit.
Of the unit,
So
which
they-
is
they act
awesome.
in a worse way. So maybe that OC value, that
Gets negated or whatever. Yeah.
control gets reduced or something.
Yeah.
Or their ballistic skill gets worse or
Yeah.
whatever.
Which is cool because then they're actually bringing a sort of psychology mechanic or a
like
nerve mechanic or a...
in Heresy, right? When you
Heresy,
fail
they just
morale,
run.
Oh yeah, but when
They
you
don't
fail
die.
morale, at least you move to the left,
Away,
you
yeah.
move to the right, you
Yeah,
move to
yeah.
wherever.
But I reckon this is even better because you can build really great variety of granularity within that. It's very similar. We've said it a bunch on the streams over a few streams about how just abilities in general throughout Ninth and stuff should be more either because you got a lot of force multipliers, but not a lot of force negative, like deep dividers.
Okay.
That took me a while to like. What's the opposite? Things like there's a few of them. Definitely more in Heresy. Like if you suffer a wound from some gun, it's just like concussion, for example, in Heresy is if you suffer a casualty, that whole unit is just like -1 to its ballistic skill, or depending how big the concussion.
Like debuffs or something.
Yeah, debuffs. Yeah, debuffs, and then dots as well. Like really taking like damage over time stuff, or which I guess is like Death Guard have a bit of that stuff. But those kinds of things create such a big variety for you to design in, which don't necessarily feel super broken because you can have kind of small movements within that same field rather than these big movements. So I think that's really cool. And then it seems like if that's what they're doing with leadership, that leadership will really, really matter.
Yeah.
It'll potentially force you to double and triple down on certain things if you're worried about things going bad. So two main phase changes. We don't know about any other key changes. What else did they talk about in the stream?
What else, Mr. Ed? But before that, I think one thing that one thing that they did not mention is the D6. Do you reckon something will happen in
It'll be D6. It'll be D6.
You won't have.
They would nuke their game if they didn't do D6.
I think they would add some kind of.
So it's good from a gameplay. From a game design point, right? Like other games like Infinity, I think Legion and that use it as well. Obviously, because you can get up to 100, so you can create so much more variety again within abilities and yada yada yada. But rolling a D20, there is zero satisfaction in rolling a D20.
I don't think I would want
It
to
sucks.
have a D20. Maybe
Even a D10, whatever it is, it's just not great. And then you're forcing a lot of people to buy non-standard dice. And then in terms of their accessibility, which seems to be their huge sort of poster child of this whole new edition, it negates that entirely. Okay. So I wouldn't be even surprised if they get rid of D3s. Like the whole concept of a D3, and they just kind of try and stick to the D6 as much as possible.
Okay, I have different opinion about that, but yeah, I think.
You reckon they will?
No, I think they need because D6 is so small.
Yeah.
For a variety of like weapon strength, and then you just have to rely on your
But that's what I'm saying. So the way they're getting around that is you just hit. You just hit and it goes straight through. We're assuming.
Yeah,
we're assuming the game will change. In terms of apart from those phase changes, I don't think the way you wound and shoot
is going to change.
It's going to change.
Okay.
Take saves is going to change. I think the main thing will just be the psychic and the
morale phase.
But also how
the unit activation.
Well, yes, but also I guess how. What was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back to you.
You can do it.
So what else?
Apart from a game point of view, I think that should be it, right?
Scatter dice. John.
I mean,
John, another $2.
I really want.
He says, remember? Do you remember scatter dice?
I won scatter dice, so I would love to see something drastically change to things like strat, like just remove strat reserve. I think it's no, like what you've got on the board is what you're playing with, and that is what it is. You can still have things like stealth or whatever other and forward deploys, and I'd like to see something change with deep strike. Yes. I'd like to be something where there's a little bit of a risk to doing it. And I was like, well, bring a scatter dice back for that, you know, but there's a lot of really bad feels with that. So it's probably not the best thing. But even that there is some form of like, you know, you can come in within 9, but if you fail the deep strike roll, it's like 12 or so, like you have to be further back or some form of how that interacts within the game. I would like to see a change there. But we don't. I mean, that's pretty high end. I mean, they might.
Let's like to see more terrain rule clarifications.
Well, they did say they were going to in all the rumor stuff, not in the stream. In all the rumor stuff, it was that the terrain is the core system's gonna stay, but they're gonna build they're gonna add and build on it more.
Isn't it part of the rumor that you can also attack the terrain, right?
That'd be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing if you could actually do that, because, I mean, we've had it in our Tempest games where you're just like, do I shoot that building? And it crumbles and does mortal wounds. So obviously that's taken to a little bit of an extreme, but you know, I think, you know, if you had, say, artillery weapons or keyword locked, but again, maybe that also kind of goes against the streamlining process. So I think it'll be more of, I hope they add keywords, and if we look at the Tyranid data sheet again, the term again, there's actually a few more keywords than what you'd expect to see on this that seem kind of similar. It's really hard to see from here.
The keywords say infantry.
Yep.
Great Devourer.
Yeah, which is obviously the Tyranid one.
Endless Multitude.
Yeah, which is just coming back. And Terminals. Okay, so that's actually less. That's fine.
Yeah, it's almost the same, yeah?
Yeah, it's almost the same.
Okay.
But then the other weird thing too is then you got a faction ability called Synapse, and then you have faction keywords, which is Tyranids. So Great Devourer isn't necessarily now the faction keyword, like you'd think maybe like what they use as Hive Tendril currently.
Yep.
Great Devourer thing. So I think they're probably looking at, if they've redesigned the entire data sheet, they're probably redesigning how keywords work. Like, I really hope they bring we've been saying this again for a while, like the Walker keyword, just adding more that kind of more better suit the models. So more sort of archetypal keywords, I think would be really cool.
Yeah.
Rather than just flyer and not like, you know, have jet bike or squadron or whatever it is that you want to do, but just add more of that. I think that are generic, that aren't faction specific, that is, you know, across the board. So that's cool.
That's kind of all the core game things that are changing as far as I know so far. They are obviously doing a lot of other things like revolving around the game, like the accessibility of it.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about that?
I think so, yeah. I think it's very relevant because I actually think they've gone into this from a design point with them as their two key motivations. That speed of the game and then accessibility is their key. This is their this is their big Marvel push, right? They want, when they action all their TV shows and all this stuff that they've got planned for the next 5-10 years, they want to make sure that the game that they have is so easy for Timmy and Timmy's mom and whatever to be able to pick up and play, and that it's quick and fast and easy. Because if it's not, and if it's this absolute chaos hodgepodge thing that it is right now, they're not going to do as well with that department, and they want that crossover as much as possible. So they're thinking big business design. So I would suggest that a lot of the game design is very, very heavily reliant on how accessible the game is,
So
which can be, you know, can be good for game flow.
Speaking of that, so they also mentioned about the combat patrol, right? So now it's like a standalone wherein you can play like, I'm not sure how much combat patrol points is, like 500.
Yeah.
So you buy a combat patrol, we play. Yeah, so like there's a specific.
Specifically said they're going to try to balance those against each other.
Yep.
So
because
people can go into a store, buy one each, build it, and then play.
And
just not.
Which is amazing. So then,
brilliant. I think that's a good idea.
It's a very, very good idea. Again, and then that speaks to that they're actually taking. There's a point where accessibility is the start point, but then integrates in very, very quickly to game design.
Correct.
Because then the armies need to be balanced, the points need to be balanced, the system needs to make sense, otherwise the game sucks, right?
Yep.
So.
And then one funny thing as well is their app. They said our app is working. Like they were making a joke for themselves because no one was using it.
Oh, they were taking the piss out of themselves?
Yeah,
that's
they
hilarious.
said our app is working, blah, blah, blah.
It's like, but no one uses it.
You want to work.
So we will see, right? So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see this week, right? So at the end of the article as well on Warcom, they talk about tomorrow there's going to be, starting from tomorrow, there's going to be releases and conversations about the major changes to the game, and then the armies exclusively how they function. Obviously not all of them, but just some of them.
Bits by bits.
So I imagine it's obviously going to be Space Marines and Tyranids, and then, you know, maybe the other 2 or 3 other big factions. I think what you're going to see the army box. I'd be very surprised if they release the box tomorrow. I think that'll be the last day of Adepticon, which I think is Saturday night for us or whatever, or the same time as this. So when this was done, so 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Yep, on Sunday. Monday. So then I wouldn't be surprised if that's when they do the army box, which is going to be bonkers. It'll be huge.
Epic.
It'll be Indominus, if not bigger. I think it'll be a lot of models. Yeah, I mean, we can digress. We can now sort of segue into models.
One more thing that chat has reminded us.
Yeah.
Attachments.
Oh, yes! Yeah. Oh, I love this change. I love this change. No detachments, Warlord, pick what you want, rule of 3. Simple. So good.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, look, I actually thought when Arcs came out, I thought it was going to be a shit show. No, I mean, it is. Is it? I don't think it is, actually. I think
it's more limiting than I think people realise.
Yeah.
There is.
You mean because you're spoiled for choice? Do you mean like that?
Because you can take 4 or 5 or 6 of one.
Yeah.
The other 3 are then unlimited still. So you can't go, I'll take 5 heavy and 5 fast. You still can't do that.
Yes.
So,
but I think it's also a little bit of like, I can have everything, but I can't have everything. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, your attachment, you go straight up, well, your detachment automatically locks you to certain build types, but now you're like, I could build anything, but it's like, I have too many options now. So I think
that's nice.
Which is, it's great.
More options are always better.
Always better. I mean, that's what you always talk with accessibility, right? Is like,
let's see how much CP they would be giving us.
I actually really hope, and if they're taking I really hope the CP system works like AOS. Which is basically you get 1 command point at the start, and then it depends on whose player turn it is, where you get other 2. But if you don't use them, they go away.
So you reckon you won't be able to spend a CP to just give Warlord traits or relics to whomever? I think the Warlord would be free for one.
Yeah, it'll be. I think that system will be similar in terms of you just get one Warlord trait, 1 relic, which I think that's how it always should be, and that's it. You only get those. But more in terms of, I don't think you're going to be able to stack build or accrue CP. Okay. I think it's going to be you. I mean, it might not be 1 or 2. You might get 5 or whatever to use every turn, but that is it. Like, so you choose to use them in that turn, in that battle round. Probably it'll be that battle round you get to use, and then they just loop back over. I think that'll be a good system because that's a good sort of when you have a system that rests a little bit more on generic things that both people can use. You kind of take the gaming out of it. Because then you know what you're like. Oh, for example, if you're gonna like all out attack, right? For I think it's +1 attack or +1 hit, or your bravery 1 or whatever. Like these standardized things, you can see how that's gonna play out on the board. Yeah. So then you don't have to worry about what strat does this 1,000 Suns player have to like do 50 mortal, like whatever, right? Like it's just. So, and again, that lines with accessibility, and that lines with the more structured, simplified game design. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if it goes that way.
Do you think like World Leaders was a bit of a test bed?
Yeah, because like they have 2.
What has happened with them is you can only take 1 Warlord trait, 1 relic, and they have 9 strats, right? And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they definitely kind of used that codex as a bit of a test.
Well, I think they did a lot of the key things they did with Arc was. I don't think they would have been tests because at those point everything was printed and done, or the game was fully done.
Get people used to it.
It would have been to get people used to it, and also maybe some like a soft launch, right?
Yeah,
so soft launch for it,
10.
but then also maybe solidifying their internal QA and their playtesters' information of like, we've got some public information. It's the same thing. It's really hard data to justify because every other aspect of the game is entirely different. So you're referencing it against a different reference point. But yeah.
But in terms of, if you played the book, right? So it's relatively streamlined.
And it's amazing. And it's so good.
It's fun. And
it's super fun. It's one of the funnest books. It's the funnest book. It's the funnest book to play because of just how simple and easy it is. I don't need to focus about 10 things. You know, the Demon book's kind of similar too. Like, you just don't have to think about so much. So it makes it good.
And then if that's the indication going forward, then it's good for all of us.
It is. It is.
So speaking of which, right? Maybe we can play in the...
Okay, so real quick, before we do this, let's get everyone's opinion on the lion.
The lion. Okay.
I got super strong feelings about this. You go.
I found.
Can we get it up as well? Sorry, I know we didn't prep that.
All right. I like it, but I find it.
This is just the model. Just the model.
I find it too old. Although he says 10,000 whatever, but I felt
so
like
you mean
he looks like an
aesthetic?
actor. The aesthetic, yeah.
The aesthetic is too old.
I think he's too.
So when you say old, do you mean like not current 40K?
No, I was like my vision of him is still very highly physique, muscular, regal lion.
I mean, he's pretty regal, right? He's a knight. He's got a shield.
But with white hair.
He looks old, I'll give him that, which is weird, right? With his face.
Yeah, but
like his Mo, not feeling that.
Yeah, but they were saying because he's 10,000 whatever year old. So, but
they're Primarchs, they don't age.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. They shouldn't age. They don't age. Look at Gilliman. Gilliman still looks like a little boy.
Yeah,
that's maybe the shock. Is Gilliman still looks young and this guy looks.
It's super old.
He's aged a fair bit.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he was. No, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, I'm 50-50. I like it because it's a new model. I like Primarchs, but yeah, not really a fan. But yeah, Ed told me there are some variants of the head, which would be so amazing if I see the...
These
Bro, this model is probably like, in my opinion, one of the best Space Marine models I've ever done. I think this is just, the pose kind of, it's not a weird action pose where he's like kind of like, what's the word when you it's not prophesize when you kind of you like stand on grandeur kind of thing. He's like, look at me. He looks like he's striding. He's projecting. Yeah. It looks like he's literally striding to go and like murder Angron or whatever. Like he's just seen him, his little watches holding the sword, and he's just pulled that out and he's like, let's go, bro.
So I like the one with the wing.
The wing helmet. I think that's the wing helmet and the hooded helmet is so cool. So cool. The only thing only issue I have with it is that it's painted green and not black. No, because it should be black from the First Legion back in the 30K scheme. I feel he should still be like that. But it's great, man.
I tried to kind of blend that with the green a bit.
Yeah.
Because the armor's like black green.
Yeah.
The hood is green. And
because
the red wings and stuff.
Yeah, I think when people get their hands on this and they do the 30K scheme, it'll look like $100. It'll look $100, $1 million. It'll look $100.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're not going to talk about his speculative rules because they're probably going to be pretty stupid. As in, like, just crazy. And I think it's great. I think hats off to them. They've done really well. All right. So now,
who's very excited?
I'm super excited.
Super excited.
The Termagants are sick. I reckon they are really cool. I really like how they're a bit skinnier. They're Primarchified, right? They're probably double their size. They look massive compared to the OG ones.
So they'll have massive release of lots of different.
I mean, as well. Again, the article, drawing back to the article, they talk about the fact that not only is a large portion of the range going to get updated, but there's also a whole lot of new stuff. So the rumor that came out was new stuff was Hypergaunt, like 2 new gaunts, a Hypergaunt something else, Spine Gaunt or something else. I wish they brought back Sniper Gaunts, that'd be sick. Macro effects, being a big Khan effects. New Zone Throat model, or a Zone Throat style HQ. Neuro Throat, and then new Zone Throat models as well. But in the video, we've seemed to spotted a few other things that are weird. So there was rumors around a new Lictor model and a new Biovore model, which are in the video. Definitely, the Bivores look bad. So let's watch the part of the clip, and then also on the Space Marine stuff as well. We reckon we've seen a bit in this. That's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, as this comes up, all right. So we'll try and flick through
So I'll try to skip to
The good bits.
NIDS.
The good bits. Is it the good bits?
Get the good bits. There we go. None of this. Yeah, Leon. All right. So that's just a Hormagon.
So that I think that is a new Phobos.
Yeah, new Phobos pattern.
Right.
Oh yeah. So they're the Termagants. All right. So you're gonna stop.
What's up?
There. Oh, yeah. So we're thinking that this whole section, you can cut back to us too if you want. Maybe it might help with the whole legal thing. I don't know. So we're thinking that little scene there where you've got the Phobos guys shooting against the Termagants.
Yeah.
They're all like holding new Primaris combi stuff. So combi Flamer. Later on, this comes combi Melter and that as well, and then some veterans. So the potential that you're going to get some more weapon gear variety in the Primaris range, as well as, again, in the rumours there was a new what's the Phobos stuff. They were going to push the Phobos stuff as well as part of the rumours. So it's all matching up so far. Yeah. What else we got? So Flamer, flaming death. Needs dying, no. And walking through. Oh, so if you go back a bit again.
More.
Yeah, so these guys look potentially like we might get vets. So if you keep going through the war gear, because of the war gear. So you see, yeah, like some combi melter, combi flamer. Again, or maybe not. Maybe they're just normal dudes, and then it seems like potentially there might be an option for support squads, like there is in Heresy, which is pretty cool. Awesome dude dying. What else we got? Oh yeah. Oh, so this is so this looks like it's not new,
but
it looks like a new Screamer Killer model that's resembled of the second edition. No, the first edition. Technically second edition. Screamer. Okay. Right, with the four flappy hands and the bald head. So Screamer's obviously going to get a new model.
Yes,
and it's going to be super cool. Burning plasma into their face is amazing. What's next?
Redemptor.
No. Where is the Redemptor?
Oh,
this boy.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you keep playing this for a tick. Yeah, and pause.
Wow.
Oh, you missed it. Go back a bit. Go back. Oh, that's awesome. That's so good. So you can see
that one.
Go a little bit forward. You can see the legs. Yes. The legs are definitely Redemptor legs. Yeah. And then so in this shot it's got it's the same dread, isn't it? Las and Missile. Yeah, Las and Missile. Yeah. So you're gonna get super G'd up. And there's a better shot later on where you see it standing up and it looks epic. Standing higher. Bye Screamer. Oh, sad.
This trailer looks so good.
Yeah. I reckon this is done by the guy who does the Astartes.
What else you got?
So what else you got? You got Apothecary. Yeah. So there was a bit, Ed, you were talking about behind this guy. I just think this is a lictor in general. I think it's made to look bigger because of the situation. But that spindly part in the arm, and then there's a shot later on over the top where you see the tendrils from its mouth. There you go. Well, while we're here, there's the... There you go. There. It looks like a Deredeo. Like that las cannon looks so high on its shoulder, but it looks massive. Can you imagine? It's very Mech Warrior. That's what it is. Looks very Mech Warrior from like 98, 97. And then obviously again the guy on the left, the Phobos dude with the bolt gun and flamer, so combi, which is pretty sick. Let's go. And then these. So I don't know if this is potentially going to be either the new Hypergaunt or if this is just the redesign of the Hormagon. So I'm pretty sure the Hypergaunt was... I don't really know Tyrannid lore that much, especially for the stuff that's not really shown. Eddie can probably come back to us for this. But I'm pretty sure the Hypergaunt's like halfway between a Ripper and a Hormagaunt, and just super fast, right? And it's super crazy. But then Hormagaunts are super fast as well. The Talons just seem small, but then later on you see it seems like they're moving away from this kind of spindly bone look to being kind of like a more morphed muscle into you know, think the crazy, you know, from 300, you know, the crazy as fat bald dude with the crazy arms that cuts people's head off for Xerxes. He's like, it looked very much like that. So I think that's the vibes they're going for. So that, I reckon this just might be the redesign, because the carapace at the back, as it comes up on those hormers, matches the new design of the termers.
Okay.
So I reckon that's probably more or less just the redesign of the hormigaunt. But we'll see, don't know. Spicy though, so much stuff. Yeah, what have we got next? And then I think we've got...
I think there's
the Biovore is here, yeah. So you see the Biovore in this pit, this part here, yeah, which just looks disgusting.
This will be the new...
Yeah, the new model, which is awesome because the old model was absolutely gross.
Yeah, how old is that model now?
Most of it's all like 25 years or 20 years.
Wow.
It's all like these Hormers, the leaping ones are from 3rd edition. So, what, 98, I think, 98?
Yeah, at least.
So, you know,
giving
it's pretty,
you some love.
Pretty long. Long
overdue.
So it's actually more. No, it's what, 25? Yeah, 25 years. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. I think I did math right there. Did I?
So are you painting the new?
Yeah. I'm gonna get at least 5 boxes of stuff. I'm gonna get so many. Well, because it's gonna be heaps. Because the box, it's probably gonna be pushed to fit. Whatever. Who cares? I don't care. But it's gonna be tasty.
All right.
So we got.
Yours is the Tyrannus will start doing Marines now.
Yeah, we are. Well, I mean, we're gonna have so many Terminators and so many Assault Marines, the Primaris ones. So we've got Biovore. Then you've also got. Then you get a new one, which seems to be kind of like Ed, I figured it out. It's an Infestor. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Infestor from StarCraft 2, where it's got these weird tendrils at the front, and it's kind of like, it kind of seems like it's Horus-Spexy, but not as big, like big chonky boy. It's more of like a... And it's when the dread comes in and it like shoots them, and then it cuts to these two things like in a pool of acid eating, and then they stop and turn. It was actually a really good like little comedy bit I think they put in, which I thought was quite clever. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, that one, bro.
Yeah, you find it?
Yes.
Let's go back a tiny bit more, because you'll see the dread like stomp up. Oh, so is it?
Yeah, this one is.
Is it Libby? Yeah, Libby.
Yeah.
So Libby to potentially get a new Terminator Libby model. Yeah, this is it. And then it's just like, what? And then obviously the new Terminators, which aren't really new. They're just Terminators, which we're going to talk about later because it's very weird. Now this, I don't think this is a Hive Tyrant. I think they're potentially going to bring back Winged Warriors. And I think this is a Prime. I think this is a Winged Prime. Because it's nowhere near big enough to be a Hive Tyrant in relation to that Terminator, which is really, really awesome. If they bring back Flying Warriors, I keep blanking on what we used to call them.
Same height as this one, yeah? Should be same height.
No. It'll be Warriors.
Yeah,
those guys. That's a Hive Tyrant.
I'm saying it should be a bit bigger based on the image.
Well, yeah, the Warriors aren't to scale to what the rest of the stuff's like a Terminator.
Okay.
Even in the model thing. They probably are like that with the mount, but if you were to scale properly like it is. Because Warriors are huge.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I think. I don't think it's a brand new character or anything. I think it's something generic. Some generic kind of HQ. And then you should roll into the Librarian Psychic stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then
they're putting up the axe, and then he would just.
Love that. I was like, they're gonna go full G-Dub Space Marine stupid on it and be like, some librarian beats a Neurothrope.
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah.
So I'll stop there. So go back a bit. Just go back one frame. So here. So obviously the middle one is the new Neurothrope model. Now the two ones next to it, I think this is up for debate whether they're zone thropes or if that's going to be part, because they did say it's a whole new unit. The Neurothrope. So it might be like he has a kind of like shield drones. Like just things that like psychic amplifier bugs that sits with him that's kind of there to take wounds and like be an like, you know,
like his minion.
For each of them that are alive gets additional abilities to his psychic stuff or whatever. I'm kind of leaning towards that being its thing based on the fact that it's positioned that like there's not zones floating around everywhere. There's just two specifically behind him. It looks very much like it's like this is the one character unit.
And then his minion over here.
And his two minions. Kind of like
Barney Jackson, they're called Shrikes?
Shrikes, yes, they're the Warriors with wings. They're the Warriors with wings. Yeah, thanks, man. I was super blanking for the last like hour about what they were called. I really hope they come back. Flying Warriors were the best. They were the best. And then obviously when this plays through, you see this librarian be like, I can take it, and then just go, nah, bye-bye to your face, bro.
That's a good shot.
I love how the wings open up behind, and then it's just like, yeah, no. Purple goes through his shield into him and just like tanks him. Yeah, it's so good. And then you see some gaunts there, and then that's it, right? Oh no, there's gaunt.
Is there one other?
No, I think this is now just a montage of everything. So if we want to tinfoil hat it a little bit regarding the box, maybe that, I mean, I don't know if that Neurothreat model would be in the box.
Okay.
Because it seems, I mean, maybe it is, and then it comes later, but that might be it, because they've shown it that way, where you get a Screamer, you get a Lictor, you get like 2 Biovores, and you get two or three units of Gaunt, or 40 Gaunts, and then you get the Prime.
But normally, like in the Indominus, how many points are the necklace and how many points are the...
It was 1,000
each.
Yeah.
Is that for the big...
The release box, the edition launch box was 1,000. Yeah, I mean it was 40 warriors, 3 Scorpex, the Scorpec Destroyer Lord, the Warden, and then the 2 Reanimators and the Doomstalker, right?
Yeah, I think it was like a Plasma Sight.
And a Cryptek or whatever as well. So there was at least 3 characters, 40 troops, and then some. And this is if this is a horde, right? You're probably going to get
Destroyer Lord.
Yeah, the Scorpec Destroyer Lord, and then the 3 Scorpex. So you're probably going to get 20 Termagants, 20 Hormagaunts, the new Neurothroat model, a Screamer Killer, a Lictor, a Prime. I don't think you get those random new poison bugs, and then you might get...
I don't think they'll put everything in.
Yeah, obviously we won't.
They didn't do
that should
well, think about it on the Space Marine side, right? You're going to get Phobos stuff, clearly. You're going to get a Librarian.
Yep.
You're going to get...
maybe one
unit Terminators, and you're going to get the Shooty Dread, right? So you're probably going to get General Intercessors as well. So you probably get 20 Space Marines, like as in chaff.
Yep.
You get 1 Dread, Apothecary, definitely, because Apothecary's there as well.
Yep.
Apothecary, Librarian, and then maybe some other mainline HQ thing that they want to push, which they haven't shown yet. So,
a lieutenant.
Yeah, a lieutenant, exactly, which would just be some generic thing. Primary lieutenant.
How many boxes are you getting?
I'll probably buy like at least 3 or 4, at least 4 or 5. I mean, obviously it's going to depend what's in it, and obviously how the game functions and stuff. I might quit 40k after this.
I don't think so.
No, it's not. If anything, I'm more excited to play than ever, actually. So it's super exciting. So I'm really pumped for tomorrow. I'm really pumped to see where they're going to take. Because I think tomorrow's going to set the trend for what the rest of the week's going to be with the stuff. I think we would. My speculation is that we're going to get a clarification on the game.
Yep.
So another major change on I think it might be the activation thing, so how you actually do your turn.
Yep.
And then I think it might be another model on each side. So they're showing the Terminators, showing the Hormagaunts. I think you might see, the new. I don't think you see the HQ. You might just see one of the other chaff things. We'll probably see the Hormers.
Yep.
Probably see the Hormers, and then you'll probably see the. I keep blanking. What's the Phobos? Whatever that Phobos unit is with all its weapon gear options. That's probably what you're going to see tomorrow. Here's the 2 new models, and this is how shooting works, or this is how movement works, or something like that. Yeah. Overall, it's exciting. I'm
pumped.
I'm G'd. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Before we end out, I just want to talk about the weird thing with the Terminators.
Okay.
So they did exactly what we hoped them to do, right? Which was don't change the aesthetic, because the aesthetic's amazing. Is what everyone. It's so iconic for 40k, and we love it. Just true scale it. But then they've turned around with the lore and gone, but it can be anyone in it.
Anyone in it.
You're like, okay, hold on.
Can we show that?
But the reason in the lore, to my knowledge, that Primaris, it's the same reason why Primaris can't get in runners. They can't fit, apparently. But then the armor's exactly the same, so they just scaled it up in the lore as well. How does that work? And then I think it's cool if that is the way they're going and that's a law point, and if they carry that law point over into the rules, so basically same model, but they can be like Primaris Terminators, but the Primaris justifies the person inside. So it's like an extra wound or whatever, or it's Firstborn, or it's whatever it is. Like you have like Tyrannic War Veteran ones, or you know, however you want to. That's how they do it on the data sheet, right? So instead of having supplements for every army or whatever, they just go same model. It's the internal arbitrary stuff that doesn't matter that makes them better. I mean, it's an interesting choice, especially for a company that prides themselves on making models. It's very interesting. I love that choice. I think it's phenomenal. It's better for the player. It's better for the, for people to understand the game overall. I really want to see the scale because I want them to be huge.
Yeah, sure.
They should be massive. And I hope they're really hard to kill. And I hope they're really, really strong. Like that they're a really strong unit.
They should be in, 50 mil, you reckon? Or 40?
I mean, it's weird because these days the way they do their bases, you just have so much base, right? I would rather the model stack out like it used to, right? Like
obviously, if you're using a 50 mil, then that Terminator is like an Aquilon Terminator of Custodes, right?
Yes. So if they're the Forge World Aquilon Custodians Terminator size, amazing. That's amazing because those are massive.
Comparison that they did.
Is that the one?
This is the old one, and this is the new one.
That's pretty big. So it will be that Aquilon size.
So it's Aquilon size.
Yeah. So they knocked it out of the park. So they are. I will take my hat off to Games Workshop at this point. At this point, that they are definitely listening to the community. Now, I think that it's good because it seems like it's not just the playtesting community and it's not just the streaming community. It seems like it's the actual people at events or tournaments or they're collecting data seems to be from multiple sources, which I think is really, really good.
Yeah, I like it. When an organization listens to its consumer.
Audience, of course, they're going to do better.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're going to do better. So we'll see by the end of the week if that statement holds up, because who knows? And even if these promises of, they do say also in the article that when they do start releasing the books, the complexity is not going to increase. Like it's literally tagged there. They also do say, I know, and they said it about the one page. So in the stream, they do talk about in the video. They do another video where they're cutting the cinematic with the. It's kind of like a devlog, right? Like a devlog where the studio designers or whatever they call themselves. They didn't say game design. It was very interesting. Talk about their process, the mentalities behind it, which is good. Devlogs are always really good to hear from the people that are about it and where the motivations and stuff have come from things. But they talk about, your army's gonna have one-page rules, and then in the article it's like you'll have all your cards and your 2 pages of your army rules, and you're like, okay, so we're already fucking up. Is that really what we're doing?
Another 3rd page.
I'm not bashing on it. It's just making fun of it. It's just, mate, even if it was 5 pages, it's fine. Like that's leaps and bounds better than what we currently have to do.
Let's keep it for 1 first, so at least
aim high, and then if you hit somewhere down the middle, it's still a win, right? So thanks everyone for tuning in.
We are sorry again for our technical difficulties. It's all my.
It's not all your fault. It's just. Hey, things happen with streaming stuff, and we didn't want to produce a product that wasn't up to the standard of what we already produced for you. And we just were lucky that this came out, because otherwise we would have been stuffed.
Yeah.
We would have had nothing. So you got this. So we'll probably do something throughout our socials over the week, prompting stuff, especially in the Discord as well. There's already been loads of talk in the Discord about things and people's speculations about what.
Actually, we should have done, but because the timing is very difficult.
I mean, we put this together in 15 minutes, so
while they're doing the live stream, we are like watching and then commenting, but of course I was still working and then you were still doing whatever.
I think I was playing Destiny with Ed. When it was on, was that what we were doing? Yeah, and then it was after that. It was after? Oh, yeah, I must have been with the kids. To be honest, I totally forgot after we spoke about it. I was like, oh yeah, and then I'm like, let's do stuff. So yeah. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Big thanks to all our sponsors as per usual. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick with us as we obviously round out 9th edition and move into 10th edition. Games Workshop hasn't sent anything to us yet, but if we get it out there, maybe they will. I don't know. I highly doubt it, but we'll see.
GW, please.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday podcast.
Tuesday is a podcast.
Tuesday podcast. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.